Senator Ndubweze.
Thank you, Mr. President, sitting as chair. Fellow distinguished senators, my name is Engineer Ndubweze Patrick C., representing Imo North from Imo State. Mr. President, the person standing before us, Commissioner for Finance and Coordinating Economy in Imo State, supervising 12 ministries. The person standing before us,
Commissioner for 12 ministries.
coordinating commissioner is enough. So, you can see quite an intellectual. You can see a medical doctor who vied into banking industry. In a short while, she became a general manager and a group treasurer of such a big bank like Zenith Bank. So dedicated that I know that we would like to ask her some questions because she is somebody who is always ready to discharge. But I don't think that we'll even belabor ourselves so much because she is use point of order, because she is somebody without any doubt. We can believe that with her, whether we put her in the Ministry of Finance, she will do well. Whether you put her in the Ministry of Health, she will be wonderful. Whether you put her in the Ministry of Trade and Industry, she will be excellent. I think she's an exceptional nominee, and she will be exceptional minister. In fact, she will be an uncommon minister. So I would suggest that those who are itching to ask questions, just be brief so that she can just... Those who must ask questions, be brief. Let her bow and take a leave. I'm pleading to all of you, my brother. I'm pleading to all of you. You know, when you have the best, you don't need to belabor the best. She's excellent. I thank you all for listening, and maybe allow my colleague from Imo State, Ostis Naso, to add his verse. And I have another brother there, Onyewuchi. But the truth is that we don't need to bother her with questions. She's wonderful.
Well, to be honest, Senator Patrick Ndubweze has taken over the job of the presiding officer. After speaking, he also nominated the next person to speak. So I don't intend to disobey you. Therefore, I concur. The distinguished Senator Izunaso, you have been nominated to speak.
Mr. President, sitting as chair, my distinguished colleagues, my name is Senator Osita Izunaso from Imo West. Mr. Chair, the nominee before us, Dr. Mrs. Doris Uzoka Anietem, is one of our best and brightest in the banking and finance sector, spanning over 2 decades. Mr. President, this multi-talented, cross-functional, managerial, with heavy managerial ability, has a lot of experience in both IT, treasury, human resource management, etc., etc. Mr. President, we can attest to the fact that since she came to Imo State as the Commissioner for Finance and Coordinating Economy, the Imo State IGR have moved from point A to point B, and Imo Lions are very happy with that. Mr. President, I do not think that we are going to overlabor her this afternoon with plenty of questions, because we all know that she's very capable. If you look at her resume, she's extremely capable. And I can look at the time, it's past 5. And yesterday, we had a tradition of allowing the last woman that came yesterday to take a leave. And today, Mr. President, sitting as chair, I will request my distinguished colleagues that we allow her to take a leave of the Senate. Having worked very hard for this country, having worked very hard in the banking sector, I believe that any ministry she finds herself, she will do a thorough and a very good job. I rest my case, Mr. President.
Thank you. Distinguished Senator Ezenwa.
Thank you, Mr. President, distinguished colleagues. My name is Ezenwa Onyewuchi, and I represent Imo East Senatorial District. Mr. President, let me first of all congratulate the nominee before us, Dr. Doris Uzoka, and to say she is a nominee in whom we are well pleased. Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, the nominee before us is an astute professional with rich pedigree and impressive resume. This is somebody that started her career as a medical practitioner and moved from there to the banking sector, where she excelled and got to the zenith of her career at the Zenith Bank. The lady before us, in pursuit of her passion, has also come to serve as Commissioner for Finance and Coordinating Economy in my home state of Imo State. Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, I do not have any doubt. I do not have any doubt, Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, that the nominee before us will be an asset to this administration. I have no doubt whatsoever, Mr. President, that this nominee will add value. I therefore want my colleagues, and I urge you to give her expeditious confirmation to take up her responsibility in the Federal Executive Council. I so submit, Mr. President.
The distinguished Senator Kingibe.
Mr. President, my distinguished colleagues, first and foremost, I'd like to congratulate the nominee. And to my colleagues, I want to say it is clear from her CV that we're looking at a very special woman, a woman who is well accomplished, a decision of excellence by His Excellency, the President of Nigeria, for picking people of her caliber who can make a difference to Nigeria. And so I'm trying to tell my colleagues also that there's no need to labor her. I'm sure that if we let her, she will be answering questions for the next 2 hours. But I know that as us senators, we do not want to be here for the next 2 hours. Since it is quite unnecessary, I think we should also let her take a bow and go, as we have done to all the other men and women of caliber that we have seen here in the last couple of days. Thank you.
Distinguished Senator Orwell.
Thank you, Mr. President. I join others, just like Senator Kingibe just pointed out. The lady standing before us, Dr. Anete, is from her CV, is an accomplished person, both in terms of intellectual acquisition and performance, practical, both in banks, medicine, and other functions that she has been asked to perform. So for me, I want to join others to say that we allow her greet us and go, so that we can look at other matters. She has done her matter by herself for her performance and her past achievements. Thank you, Mr. President.
Distinguished Senator Dr. Zhang.
Your Excellency, the Senate President,